Hello, everyone. You are welcome to today's session. And in today's session, we are going to look at the solution to the class test, the core maths class test to be specific. And you know, all the questions were on sequences and series. Okay, so quickly, let me run you through the solution. And as I run you through the solution, please, okay, each question, let me finish running you through the solution before, okay, you start asking questions. So after each major question, running you through the solution, then I'll give you the opportunity to ask what question. So wait, don't interrupt whenever, okay, I am handling a particular what question. Okay, so quickly, let's go and have a look at what the first, what do you call it? Question one. Then it's a marking scheme. So as you see, especially if you see the step, okay, that you have here in whatever you send to me in your submissions, okay, check the marks allocated and do the needful. However, if you didn't present your solution this way and you have any issues, like I said, after walking you through a major question, I will always give you opportunity to ask questions. All right, so this was question one. Okay, A, the first question. So given the arithmetic progression AP, so this is what you were given. Find the number of terms of the sequence. Okay, so this is what we have. So as usual, if for nothing at all, you know the first thing that you write is solution. As for the class test, is not necessary. I decided to write it there. Okay, so here there is no salient part for us to underline. So we come and write solution. Sorry. Then you have what? Question 1A. You number your question, very critical. So you extract what you are giving. So giving AP, or you can even just write giving this. Okay, only that the AP is just throwing more light on the type of sequence that you have. Okay, so you do this. However, this is a past question. So I just brought this question just to make a certain, okay, fact known to you. This question, for those of you who have A plus, okay, or any other past question that you have, this is a past question. However, there was a problem with the past question. And obviously you realize, I think some of you behind the scenes, you were telling me that there was a problem with question A, and I told you deal with it the way, okay, it is, because I know it's intentional. So when you were able to realize that there was a problem with the question, I was happy. Okay, because it gave me the impression that you know your stuff. Okay, so quickly, you know, okay, obviously this is not an AP. However, remember I told you, it is none of your business to verify whether the sequence given is an AP or not. So you deal with it the way you were taught to deal with it. However, please, my point is, if you don't verify, okay, if you don't verify in certain situations, you might end up wasting your time. So remember I told you, because this is an AP, okay, anytime you know the type of sequence, if you want to get the common ratio, or in this case, the common difference, just use the two terms, because you know that the rest will be the same. So those of you who didn't verify and use only the first two terms, you will move further. Okay, and by so doing, you will waste your time. So my point is verifying whether your sequence that you have there is an AP or a GP shouldn't be tedious. So if the question tells you there's an AP, GP, and you still want to verify, you can verify, because you know that sometimes the question could get it wrong. I guess my point is well made. Is my point well made, my professors? Because of the, so I want to know whether my network, so I'll be expecting you to respond as quick as possible. So here, this is not an AP, so once you state this, then it means you are good to go. Once it's not an AP, you cannot, okay, continue, because the information itself is flawed. Okay, so because of that, if you are able to extract this, this is B1. Okay, if you are able to continue up to whatever, okay, because those of you who continue realize that your N was not a whole number. You agree with me?
Yes, please.
So that indirectly,
Yes,
okay,
please.
will give you the information that there is something wrong with the question or with your steps. So immediately you go and check your step, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, let me verify the sequence given. Maybe there's a problem with the sequence. And immediately you do that, you realize that the difference here will not be the same as this difference. So it's not, the sequence is not an AP, it's not a linear one. So on that note, okay, this will be your bonus. You get a bonus mark of what, 4. So whether you were able to do it or not, this question is bonus. But this one, okay, you have to extract. At least we all know that this is how we start. So this one is not bonus. Okay, so in all, you are going to get 5 marks for question A. Okay, for bonus. All right, now we come to B. B, let's look at the first term of an AP. So again, you know that is an AP is -8. If the ratio of the 7th, okay, term and the 9th term is 5:8, find the common difference of the progression. And the progression we know is an AP, arithmetic. So now what do we have? You extract as I have been telling you. So we are told the first term is what? -8. So first term in sequence, series and sequence is denoted by U sub 1, -8. And we are also told that the ratio of the 7. So U sub 7 is to, that's the ratio. The ratio of U sub 7 and what? U sub 9, which is the 7th term and the 9th term, okay, will be equal to 5 is to what? Is to 9. Okay, so anytime you see is the same as equal to. Okay, you've done word problem. So at this point, okay, because you are dealing with what? An AP. You know that U sub 1 for an AP is A. So this will imply that A will be equal to -8, and you call this equation 1. And okay, U sub 7 for an AP will give us A plus 6D. U sub 9 for an AP will give us A plus 8D. So it will be this over that. Okay, so equal to, you know, these 2 is the same as over. So 5/8. So now you get this equation, which is not pretty. Okay, so I will not label it at this point. I'll make sure I clear fractions, brackets before I label. So I will cross multiply. And I've told you, don't show your cross multiplication. Okay, so it means this will give us 8 times this, then 5 times this, as indicated here. You remember this is a binomial, so it should be in brackets. This is also a binomial. So when it's multiplying 5, it should be in brackets to maintain that meaning. So now what do? We come and remove the bracket. Again, we can't label it here because it contains brackets. So we move on, we expand. Okay, then after that, we know every equation, usually before you label, it contains 2 variables. We make sure that the variables are on one side and the constant on the other side. So that informed my decision to move everything to this side. And that gave us 3A plus 8D. And this will be labeled as what is equal to 0. And this becomes equation 2. So look at the marks, okay, attached. Then now I have these 2 equations. I know A. So comfortably, I can come and substitute equation 1 into equation 2, and that will give me the D, because that's what we were asked to find. So equation 1 into equation 2, okay, will give us this. And I've told you this will always be short. And don't write put, okay, don't write substitute, just write this. It carries the same meaning. So you are precise and concise. You save time, however little. Then what do? You come and simplify this. Okay, you solve for your D. So you move this one to the side, then you write it again before you divide. Don't forget this. And in this case, your common difference D would be equal to what? A 3. So the total marks for this, okay, the B will be 10, then plus the 5 here, making the total of what? 15. Any questions at this point? Hello, any questions? Maybe your solution is not exactly this way. You did it another way. Okay, let's know. Maybe you didn't defy any mathematical principle. In that case, you will get all the 4 marks. If not, then, okay. Yes, please, my professor.
Please, for me, I didn't use, I grouped like terms.
You grouped like terms as in where?
From the 8A plus 48D equal to 5A.
Okay, so you had 3A is equal to -AD.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I decided to label my equation, bringing everything here. So you will still get it. Okay. That's in your, only that I said, that's why I say usually. Remember I said that. Usually you want to. And if you don't want to go the usual way, it's the same equation. You get it?
But I put the value for A in the equation.
Yes, in that equation, so you get the same results.
Okay.
Didn't you get the same results?
I got the same result.
So your equation 2, mine is this, but yours will be 3a is equal to minus 8d.
Yeah.
Then you substitute. So if you substitute, you will get what? You will later divide by what? The 8 there. But I think you divide by minus 8.
Yeah.
You get the same result. Only that usually it's advisable, okay, to let the two variables be on one side. It's when it contains one variable that you saw, just like you have here. You just maintain that one variable should stand alone. Make it the subject. However, if it contains two variables, usually you put it in that form. You get it? So next time, do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You are welcome. Okay, so I guess we can move on to question 2 if you don't have further questions. Okay, all right. So let's quickly move on to question 2. Okay, so question 2. Okay, this is what we have. An interesting question, and it's a question that, okay, I told you that you will meet it. Okay, so quickly, let's look at that. The question 2a, the numbers 11, p, q. I think there was something that I wanted to say, okay, that I didn't say yet. So quickly, let me say that. Do you see anything wrong with my extraction here? Do you see anything wrong? Did I extract precisely? Okay, if you can see, let me quickly draw attention to that. You can see that there should be a comma. Remember, I've told you, if after the ellipsis you are introducing another, okay, term, you have to introduce a comma. You get it, as you can see in the question. Okay, good, all right. However, that will not be costly, but let's learn to do the right thing anyway. We don't know when, okay, we will be asked to penalize those who don't do that. So quickly, okay, Prof. Ella.
Mr. Hackman, question 1b. Since A has already been found, which is the first term, right? Why don't you substitute it into one of the equations?
That's what we did. We substitute equation one into
you
this.
See, you first of all, equated them. You don't equate it at all. You just take maybe u of 9 or u of 7, and you just substitute the a. You just replace it with the negative a and you solve it. Or that's not a good approach.
No, okay. I get your point now. Okay, I get your point. But if you substitute, you can see that if you are going to substitute, that will not be an equation. Okay, if you substitute, this is what is going to happen. Once you have the u sub, you are saying this, if I got you right. So if I am on a wrong, okay, then tell me. So this is it. You are saying that u sub 7 will be a plus 6d. Is that not it? I hope you are with me. Is this an equation?
Yes.
This is not an equation. This is a relation. You get it? So
yeah.
if I come and substitute a, there is no way I can find my d unless I know the exact value here.
Oh, okay. So u sub 1 is equal to a, right? Yeah. So since u sub 1 is equal to a and u sub 1 is equal to negative 8, and which is also equal to a, why don't you just put negative 8 into one of the relations, which is either u sub 9 or u sub 7, which is, let's take u sub 7, which is u sub 7 is equal to a plus 6d. Come by a, and a is equal to negative 8.
So that's what I have here. Negative 8 plus 6d. Is that not it?
Yeah.
So what happens next?
And u sub 7 is also equal to 8, I think.
No, u sub is not equal to 8. Okay.
The ratio
is the ratio.
Okay, so it's a ratio.
So
sorry,
the ratio could be maybe a bigger value that was reduced.
Bigger.
You get it?
Okay. Yeah.
You get my point. So mathematically, it might not be right to equate it to that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because usually ratio, we leave it in a simplified form. Okay, so once you get it, I guess I can move on. I like it when you ask questions. So sometimes when you ask questions, some of the misconceptions, okay, I will try as much as possible to dispel that. Okay, great. All right, Prof. Aduma.
Mr. Hackman, please, I don't get you because I actually did what she did. So I don't see.
You did what I did here.
No, well, like I substituted the A right into the equation from the start. So I had -8 plus 6 is equal to 5 and -8 plus 8t is equal to 8.
No, I don't. So you had what? Minus
8 plus 6t over -8 plus 8t is equal to 5 over 8. Because you see,
minus 8 over. Let me write what you are saying. -8, okay, plus was 6d
over -8
plus 8d
is equal to 5 over 8.
Is equal to 5 over 8.
And then I solved right away.
Okay. Now, this is a take note. Okay, so if I have this, A over B is equal to maybe 1 over 2. Can you really say that A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2? Can you really say that?
No.
No. So that's what you did. So if you had cross multiplied,
I did though.
You did, then you get the same results.
Yes, so I'm trying to say, how will I share the marks? Because you see, yours is a bit
Okay,
longer.
so sharing of the marks, okay, should be done by an expert or a professional. So like, you know, that if you didn't go my approach, okay, and you went by any other approach, that's the more reason why I give the total marks here. So you cannot distribute the marks, but you know that you did what was expected of you. Okay, though, okay, in a different way, but you will still get your 10 marks there, but you wouldn't be able to distribute the rest. As for the ones that you can distribute. So maybe if the total here is 10, and you have distributed maybe 2, okay, then it means the rest you write 8 there. You get it?
Yes, please.
So I will look at it and give you the mark distribution. For any other alternative method that we give, the teacher or the professional, okay, should, okay, do the mark distribution, because we cannot provide the mark distribution for all possible ways of solving, okay, the question. You get it?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Thank
So
you.
usually we go by the ID, like I always say. So can I move on now, my professors? Ask questions. I like it when you ask questions. Okay, so that next time, if there are any issues, you know you won't do that. Okay, so quickly, let me go back to what I was doing. So question 2A, we extract. So this was the sequence, and we know that there's an AP. Okay, so we know, okay, this AP, for every AP, there should be a common difference. So it means what I'm going to do is, because I have two unknowns, I need to create two equations, okay, then solve for these two unknowns. So for an AP, I know I'm going to form two equations in P and Q. So I will do 11 minus P, P minus 11, forgive me, P minus 11 should be equal to Q, okay, minus P. Do you agree? Okay, so that will give us the mass that you have there. Okay, at this point, remember, I can label my equation here, but remember I said for every equation, make sure your variable terms are on one side and the constant term on the other before you label. So on that note, okay, I'm going to move these two terms to this side. Okay, you could have moved this one also to this side, but because I want to move alphabetically, PQ, so P should be my first term, Q should be my second term. And always your first term, if possible, make it what? Move in such a way that that will be positive. So that informed my decision to move this one here. Because if I had moved, it would have been minus 2P plus Q. But I want my first term to be positive. So I will move this one here, and that will give me 2P, then move this one here, minus Q. Move this one here, and that will give me 11. And I will call this equation 1. Again, I know someone equally can do this. Okay, as for your equations, we know common ratio. So if I take any pair, okay, consecutive terms, find the difference. It should be equal to any other consecutive pair, the difference. Okay, so someone can come and do P minus Q is equal to 21.5 minus what? Minus Q. Q minus P is equal to 21.5 minus Q. So I decided not to do that. Okay, so I did it P minus 11 because you realize that when I was taking you through questions of this nature, I went that approach. But I want you to know that you can equally go this approach so that at least you know how flexible you can be anytime you encounter this situation. So I will find this difference. 11 P minus 11 should also be equal to what? This minus that. I hope you get my point. So here you can get 3 ways of pairing. This and this, which is 1, this and this, which is 2, this and this, which is what? 3. That is the main one. Okay, and you can play with the 3 pairs that you have there. As simple as that. Is my point well made now?
Yes, please.
Okay, so this will help you generate your second equation. So you know, you change this one to its corresponding improper fraction. You clear the fraction. Remember, I've told you, equation before you label, it should be devoid of fractions and brackets if possible. In certain situations, you cannot. Okay, so going forward, you will see. Or it will be convenient for you to leave it in brackets. So at this point, you know, you continue, combine all the terms in, your variable terms, move it to one side and the constant on the other side, and you label it. So at this point, if I look at the 2 equations, this is what I have. My first equation is this. My second equation is this. Okay, so these 2 equations, I can easily eliminate what do you call it? P. Okay, I can eliminate P because the coefficients are the same. Okay, however, I am looking for Q. So when I'm eliminating P and the coefficients are the same, you eliminate by subtraction. They have the same sign. You eliminate by subtraction, opposite sign you add. However, I can do equation 2 minus 1 or 1 minus 2. And for convenience sake, like I said, okay, always do your subtraction in such a way that you end up getting a positive result. I always want to avoid negative at the initial stages. So if I had done equation 1 minus equation 2, then I would have gotten minus Q minus what? 2Q, which would have given me minus 3Q. But I decided to do the other way around because I know that will give me positive. So 2Q minus Q, and that will give us 2Q plus Q. So I'll get 3Q. Remember, I've told you this will always be sure to take a line. So continue, bring a comma, semicolon, or anything that will separate it and continue. But you usually use comma. So 3Q will be equal to, you come and subtract 11 from 65, and that will give you 54. Okay, so you write it again before you divide, and you get Q to be equal to this. Okay, so now we are left with what? P. But once you know Q, we are in a comfortable lead. So once you are going to substitute Q, label it and come and write the equation label into the one that you want to substitute. Any of the 2 equations, but preferably equation 1, just because it involves smaller values. So equation 3 into equation 1 will give us 2P minus Q, and Q is 18 is equal to 11. You move this one to the side, which gives us this. Okay, write it again before you divide. Okay, then after that, you come and get this as what? As your P. You can see that I didn't give the marks here. Okay, so if you had your conclusion drawn here, therefore Q is equal to this. Okay, I will give you your conclusion mark. Okay, 1 mark will be here. If you had concluded here to therefore P is equal to this, I will give you the other 1 mark here. But because the question asks you to find P and Q together, okay, it's usually better also to draw your conclusion together. But that's not to say you cannot, okay, separate your conclusions. Okay, you can. So if you draw your conclusion together, then it will be therefore P is equal to, remember this, and Q is equal to what we have here. Okay, so at this point, this gives you what? 2 marks. But if you separated, A1 will be here, A1 will be here, provided you wrote therefore. It means you have concluded. Now B, one of the easiest questions as well. So the n term of a sequence is this, for n greater than or equal to what? 1. So obviously, n term is donated by U sub n. So we are being told that U sub n is equal to this. This is the relation. So what is the sum of the 4th and the 5th terms? So once you know the parent function U sub n, we are in a comfortable lead. You can find any particular term. Okay, but here we are looking for the sum of the 4th term and the 5th term. So we need to find the 4th term the fifth term, then sum. So I have this implies that u sub 4, which is the fourth term, will be equal to wherever I see n, u sub n, it is 4. So that is what I have here. Then I simplify square. This will give me over 3 squared, 4 minus 2. Then I know 2 over 3, 3 squared will give me 9. You can use your calculator to get this value. Okay, so we move on to the next one, and that will be, okay, and u sub 5 is equal to this. So that one to your n is 5. So you end up getting this. Okay, your calculator gives you this. But you were not asked to find u sub 5 and u sub 4 directly. They are means to an end. So you don't draw your conclusion with that. So now what I was asked to find, the sum of the fourth term and the fifth term will be therefore u sub 4 plus u sub 5 will be equal to, your fourth term plus your, what do you call it, your fifth term. And if you add this will give you this per your calculator. Okay, then after that, this is an improper fraction. You avoid concluding with an improper fraction. So if you ended here, okay, you are not going to get this marks. If you concluded with this, okay, you won't get the final answer score. So you change this one to its corresponding list numbers. Okay, and in all, the total will be what, 21. Okay, I think A for B, 8 for B, then 13 for A. Point well made. Any questions at this point? Hello, any questions at this point, my professors? Okay, Prof. Lynette.
Yes, I have one. Please, the question 2. Question 2A. What is the P you concluded with 29/2?
29. Oh, no, you cannot ask for Lynette, this. I don't know whether you want to test me. You cannot conclude with an improper fraction, this. As for this one,
Oh, for that one, that was my equation 2, so I couldn't use like a mixed fraction.
No, hey, that's your equation 2, but in your conclusion, so if let's say you wanted to conclude with this, okay, this is what you do. Okay, so you concluded separately, I guess.
No.
You concluded together.
Yes.
Okay, so you concluded together, and it shouldn't be an issue at all. So your equation 2, you said, okay, was this? I don't know. Was this one? Is that not it?
Yes.
So when you are substituting, even if you labeled your equation here and it's a mixed number, when you are substituting, remember I told you if you are substituting, don't substitute the mixed number. Substitute rather the improper version of that. Because if you substitute the mixed number, you will change to improper before you start working with it. So why don't you substitute the improper version so that your work will be easy? You get it? But when you substitute, okay, in your conclusion, you know that your conclusion can never be stated in unless otherwise stated. You don't give it in what? In the improper fraction form. That one is quite basic. You avoid decimal, you avoid improper fraction unless otherwise stated. So on that note, you don't get the A1 for this. Okay, for the P, but you get A1 for so your conclusion will be A1, not what A2. You lose this mark. All correct. You are learning. Okay, some of these things, like I said, it's painful though, but it will not reflect on your transcript directly. Okay, but indirectly, if you pay heed, you know that definitely it will reflect later. Okay, all right, so can I move on? Any further questions? Okay, so we are fine. All right, so let's go to question 3. If you don't have any further questions, please do ask questions. So, all right, okay, so question 3A. All right, if this question 2, I think we did it in class, so this was a bonus question sort of. So everyone, you expected to solve this question. I think, well, I don't know whether what we solved was X. Okay, I changed it to A, or I repeated the same thing. Okay, I think it was 3 minus X. The variable was X, only that I changed the variable to A. Okay, and this was a past question which was repeated in another year. So if you have your various past question, okay, textbooks, you can check. Okay, so here, this was what we were given. We were told that these are the consecutive terms. Okay, so indirectly, if you like, you can assume they are the first 3 terms, but in actual fact, they are not the first 3 terms. If they are the first 3 terms, we'll tell you. So usually, if you want to rule out that ambiguity in this statement. Okay, so here, this is what you do. You can do this. Okay, you know they are consecutive terms. So I can write giving the right ellipsis, okay, comma, then write my consecutive terms, then maybe introduce ellipsis again. You get my point? If they were the first 3 terms, then you just begin with the 3 terms, comma, then you bring your ellipsis. Okay, but if you extract it this way, no issues at all. Okay, no issue. So these are consecutive terms. So for a GP, we know here we are dealing with a GP. So for a GP, what we have here should have a common ratio. Okay, so this over that should be equal to this over this. And here is only one unknown, so you form only one equation using the common ratio. So you cross multiply, you expand, you simplify, then you get this. Okay, let me quickly add, okay, this. Usually, okay, in the marking scheme, usually, whenever you are given a question which results in quadratic equation, okay, we don't give marks for how you solve. The marks will start from how you had your factorization, so it will start from here. But because I want you to perfect your factorization skills, that's why usually I will ask you to go through all the steps, because sometimes the question specifically will tell you to factorize a quadratic expression, especially in format. Okay, so that's the more reason why any quadratic equation, I want you to go through this. However, if there is a question which resulted in quadratic equation, usually we'll start the maths from here. So meaning you can use your calculator, get the factors. But you can't use your calculator, you can't move from here, use your calculator and write the values there straight away. You use your calculator to get what's the factors. You get the point? Because when I know this, I can get my factors. Remember, we did that in polynomials. Okay, the relative math student. Okay. All right, so this is what we have. You go through the factorization process, you end here. Okay, so you can see that obviously I didn't give maths here as well. So you can move from here to here when you have this situation. If the question is not a direct question that you're asked to factorize or solve the equation, okay, quadratic equation. So if you continue, you know, as for this one, at this point, like I said, we've done it. So you draw your conclusion. Okay, and this that you have, you immediately do this, you know that you are looking for what? A. Okay, now so you are looking for I. You number your solution accordingly. I, the common ratio. So this is a ratio, this is a ratio. So the one that you think is okay for you, you go. Okay, so you either use this or you use that. But I went for this. So 6 over 3 minus. So if R is equal, you can see that we have 2 values for R. Sorry, for A. So it means indirectly we are going to get 2 values for what? R. Please take note. I didn't do that. Remember, I told you anytime we read question, underline the salient part. So here, this is very critical. If you don't underline, you might probably draw the wrong conclusion for your R. So if A is equal to its value, you test. R will give you this, it's positive. But you don't know whether the other one too will give you positive. So you go and test. Okay, so if you test that, okay, will give you, okay, let me see. This one, which one was it positive? Have I done something wrong? One of them is supposed to be negative. Oh, it's supposed to be -2.
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's -2 here. Okay, this one wasn't intentional, so this will be -3. So take note. Okay, so at this point, I know that I cannot conclude with this R. So in my conclusion for the R, okay, I will conclude with this. But you can see that, Lynette, can you see that though this is 5 over 3, when I was concluding, I didn't conclude with a 5 over 3 because I know that that is improper. So I changed it. You get a point? So this is what, okay, you should always do. And if you like, you can choose not to attach, okay, this condition. It's just to throw emphasis on the fact that you discarded the other one because R must be greater than 0. Okay, so this will be it for question 3A. Let's look at the B together and I will give you opportunity to ask questions. Please, let's look at the B together. Let me finish every major question. Remember, okay, that was the rule, the instruction. So B, the fourth term of an AP, arithmetic progression, is 1 less than twice the second term. If the sixth term is 7, find the first term. Okay, so this is it. All right, so in this case, we are told we need to get the relation here in terms of maths. So the fourth term, use our 4, we are told is 1 less than twice the Okay, the second term. So twice the second term will be 2 u sub 2. 1 less than will be -1. Is my point well made? Okay, and you are also told that the system, which is u sub 6, is equal to 7. So this one is a general situation. Now, you know the type of sequence. It's an AP. So for an AP, u sub 4 is given by this. So this implies that a plus 3d is equal to 2 plus your second term is a plus d. So you put this in brackets. Remember, it contains 2 terms. Other than that, the meaning will change at -1. So now what do I do? You have 2 unknowns. So obviously, you need to create 2 equations. That's why the question gave you 2 information to do that. So yeah, if you simplify, you get this as your equation 1. Collect all the terms in your unknowns, A and B on one side and constant before you label. Okay, then the second one too, I'm told that u sub 6 is equal to 7. So u sub 6 for an AP is A plus 5D, and that's equal to 7. Okay, so this becomes your equation 2 straight away. Okay, however, this you have to be very careful. You can see that your equations are in A and D. And in this question, we are looking for only the first term. So once I'm looking for only the first term, which is A, okay, I am supposed to, if I want to use elimination, then I should rather eliminate D. Okay, some of you will go and find maybe D, then use it to find your A. That would be a waste of time because I can find A straight away. You get my point? Without going through D. So always, okay, you have to, like I always say, think before you write. So by so doing, I know that if I want to use elimination and I want to find A, I have to eliminate D. If I want to use substitution, okay, if I want to use substitution, then this is what I'm supposed to do. Because I'm looking for A, I have to make D the subject. So it's the same way. Looking for A, for substitution, make D the subject. Looking for A, for elimination, eliminate D. So that is it. So in this case, I decided to use what? Substitution. So if I want to use substitution, okay, because I realized that if I want to eliminate D, the 2 equations that I have there, if I want to eliminate D, I have to multiply this by 5. I want to avoid that. I cannot eliminate directly. So in this case, I want to use substitution. So if I want to use substitution, okay, I make one of the variable the subject here, but because I'm looking for A, like I said, you make D the subject. So I write from 1, make D the subject, and D will give me. So I will call this 1A, you know, or you can call it 3 if you like. Okay, however, I know I've told you that this is a baby of equation 1, so I will attach A to it. So come and substitute 1A into equation 2. Okay, so if I substitute, simplify, I will end up getting my A straight away without finding the value of D because I don't need it. You get my point? Okay, so if you went through D before getting, okay, your A, okay, the total mass here will be, so check all the mass that you will give. So your equation that you will label, the mass that you take that one out of what, 9, then you come and distribute the rest. Okay, so as well. So that is what you are supposed to do in terms of question 3. Is my point well made, my professors? Okay, so Blaze. Prof. Blaze.
Mr. Hackman, please, my line went off, so I want to screenshot the 3A,
Okay.
the marking scheme.
All right. Okay. You are there. I'm there. So, Adoma here, your hand was up. So, Adoma now. Okay, Prof. Adoma, you can ask your question.
Mr. Hackman, please, the question 3A, I solved it in a different way.
Okay, which way?
So I substituted the value that I had for A into the expressions that were given, like 3 minus A and 7 minus 5A.
You substituted that into this.
Yes, please.
You had values, then you came to divide.
Yes, please.
Okay, no issues. Only that you've already done that here, so it's better you substitute with this. Okay, so you are working with your equation that you have generated. So anything that will regard, okay, or will need the equation that you are generated, use the equations. Don't go back. Is that okay? Because
Yes,
what you have here is here. So why didn't you substitute straight away? Yeah. You ended up getting the same thing. Is that not it?
yes, please.
All right. So we are learning. So you know that the next time, this is how you deal with it. Okay. And we are good to go. Any other questions before we move on to our next question? Okay, so if you are fine, then we are going to move on to question 4. Okay, so question 4. So we are almost done. All right, my target was to use, 1 hour. I think we are almost there. Okay, is the question 5 that the question was somehow different, entirely different? Okay, and you needed a particular. Okay, so let's see. Question 4. Okay, the first 3 terms of an AP. So here, you know, these are the first 3 terms. So that's why I generated that as a sequence. Okay, and you are told that if the last term is 18, so you know the last term of that sequence as well. Okay, so the sequence in itself, if per the first statement, you might see the sequence to be an infinite one. But immediately you know the last term, then it becomes what? A finite one. Is that clear? So this is how best you can extract it. If you extracted without the 18 here, okay, then please, it will be B half. Take notes. Okay, so now for an AP, you know this involves only one variable. For an AP, there should be a common difference. So my second term is a binomial, put it in brackets, minus the first term in brackets. Okay, with this one, even if you fail to put the first term in bracket, no issue. But the second one, you have to put that one in bracket. I'm talking about this. Okay, so it's equal to this minus that. So that is give us this. And this will give you, if you solve, you end up getting S2 equal to what? You expand, combine like terms, you solve for S, and that will give you 2. So you can see that in actual fact, in fact, the question that came with this, okay, after this question, you were asked to find the first 4 terms, or I think the 4th term or so. So if I want to find the 4th term, then I will need the D as well. I hope you are with me. Or find the number. But if you look at it critically, you can see that we didn't make use of the second information, because the second part of the question is the second part of the question that will require the need of what of this information, but I cut that one off. Okay, because I didn't want the question to be loaded. So with this, we didn't make use of the second statement. I don't know if you get my point. Only that we use that one to generate the actual sequence. That one. But apart from that, we didn't use it to do any other thing. Okay, so that would be it for A, if you are with me. Then B, okay, let's see. The difference between the 3rd term and the 1st term of a GP is 42. So the difference between the 3rd term and the 1st term is 42. So given this, that's the first statement. If the 4th term is greater than the 2nd term by 168, okay, so it means the 4th term must be equal to the 2nd term plus 168, or the 4th term minus 168 should give you, okay, 42. I said, did I say 42? You sub 2, forgive me. You sub 2. Or I can equally say that the difference between my 4th term and the 2nd term should also give me 168. Okay, as well. But directly, I've extracted the 2 statements here. So at this point, what do? Because I'm dealing with a GP, I know that for a GP, U sub 3 is given by AR squared, then minus U sub 1 is A, and that should be equal to 42. So this will be your M1. Then after that, remember we said for GP, when you encounter this situation, though we said usually, okay, before you label your equation, let it be devoid of what? Of fractions and brackets. But here we know per experience, it is better and ideal to, okay, label the equation in the bracket form. So you factorize and you label. So you come and do same here. This one, U sub 4 is AR cubed, and U sub 2 is what? AR. So plus 168. Okay, collect the terms in your variable on one side, then the constant on the other side, as always. Now you come and factorize. So this gives out this result. So at this point, what do we do? Someone can come and make A the subject and substitute. We said we are going to divide equation 2 by equation 1. Okay, so on that note, because this is a bigger equation compared to this. Okay, this is a, if you look at this equation, this is a quadratic equation, this is a cubic equation. So this polynomial is bigger. Remember, the bigger the degree, the bigger the polynomial. So you divide the smaller polynomial by what? The bigger polynomial. So you divide the bigger polynomial by the smaller polynomial, forgive me. So that will give you your equation 2 divided by equation 3. So equation 2, this side, what is equation 2 is this. Okay, divided by equation 1, this side is equal to, okay, this side of equation 2 divided by this side. So if you simplify, you are going to get R to be equal to what? 4. You were asked to find the first term. So like the other one, okay, where I said, because you didn't need, in this situation, you didn't need the R. And you were asked directly to find a common ratio, because I will get 2 variables involved, A and R. And I was asked to find the first term rather A. Okay, so I asked myself, at this point, when you generate these 2 equations, here, can I find A directly without any struggle if I don't go through R? So you ask yourself this question before, okay, you handle the question in the way that you want to handle. But I realized that finding A directly, okay, will be a little bit involving. Okay, so on that note, what I did was, okay, because if you want to find A directly, then you have to either make R the subject, go and substitute, okay, or you eliminate what R, but obviously we can't do that, it will be difficult. So it means I have to go through R, I'm compelled. So if you go through R, you know R, once you know R, you are good to go. You substitute your R into any of the 2 equations, but preferably equation 1, because it involves smaller values. You solve, then you get your A to be equal to 14 on 5, but you cannot conclude with an improper fraction. You change it to the corresponding mixed numbers. All correct. So any questions at this point? So with this one too, this will give us 19, total marks of 19. So no bonuses, apart from the question 1A that give you 4 bonus. Yeah, no bonuses, because most of the questions, you've seen it before. Okay, Prof, please.
Mr. Hackman, please, so are you saying that if we meet, let's say, a question like this, where we get a bigger polynomial and a smaller polynomial, it's not advisable to eliminate?
It's not advisable to eliminate. Oh, no, I didn't say that. I said you study the equation,
Yes.
and see whether elimination will be tedious. Okay, look at the volume of work, because before you write, you think, usually, okay, your equations will be in terms of linear in 2 variables, but you can see that these are not linear. You get it? This quadratic,
Yes.
this quadratic. So it's linear that usually will tell you eliminate, eliminate. You get
Okay.
it?
Yes.
And whenever you have, but you can have quadratic too, then eliminate. So check whether elimination will be easy. That's my point. If you can easily eliminate, you eliminate. If not, then you know what to do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Okay, you are welcome. Okay, so at this point, we are going to look at the last one. And this is where, okay, anyone who is able to get this question, okay, I mean question 5, you're able to get the full score for question 5. I owe you a reward. Okay, all right. I will have to, what do you call it? Reward you.
I got it correct.
Yeah, no problem. So no problem. I will see. I will check. Okay, so if you had it right, I have. So I will reward you beautifully and handsomely. All right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is not difficult. The reason why I'm saying that I will reward you is that you can see that we never solved questions of this sort. So it shouldn't always be questions of the nature that you've seen. So I shouldn't give you questions ahead. So this question is different. So I want to see whether whatever that I've taught you, you are fully grounded. Your basics, okay, are really, okay, fully grounded. So that's the more reason why I brought this question. So to see, okay, so let's see. Okay, in this, how many numbers between 75 and 500 are divisible by 7? So here, all that you need to do is to generate, okay, a sequence of what multiples of 7 between 75 and what? And 500. That's all. So what you need to do, okay, is to do this. Take 75, okay, then divide by 7, because you need to get your first term. And you know that 75 divided by 7, okay, will give you a decimal. I hope you are with me. So it means this cannot be your first term. If you go to 76, it will give you a decimal, not your, but 77, okay, will be your first term, because that will be exactly divisible by 7. So once you get your first term, you are good to go. Okay, as to remember, as for any sequence, the first 3 terms will be okay. If you can get the last term too, then you attach. So your next term will be this 1 plus 7, because we are looking at multiples of 7. So this 1 plus 7, this 1 plus 7, your ellipses, and now you want to know the number, okay, right before this, that will be divisible by what? 7. Just as you looked at the number right after 75, that will be divisible by what? 7. So you do 500 divided by 7. Okay, the value that it gives you, okay, you know. So 500 divided by 7, I want, okay, the value to, okay, say something. 500 divided by 7 will give you, I'm waiting. Okay, it will give us 71 point something. Is that not it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so then it means this is what we are going to do. The closest whole number that 7 will go into, that will be 71. So you multiply 7 by 71, and that will give you this number. So that becomes the last number. Okay, you are just being critical, you are just thinking. Okay, so now at this point, this is your sequence. So instead of giving you this sequence and asking you to find the number of terms in this sequence, look at, okay, the approach. So if you want to find the number of terms, you know, in this sequence, you know the L, you know, once you know the last term, you know the number of terms. So L would be equal to A plus U sub N, sorry, A plus N minus 1D. You know, this is the same as U sub N anyway. But L, okay, will be better. Okay, but remember I said L is the same as U sub N. So in this case, I know at my this, so I can write this implies that this you can choose. You should have it mentally. Okay, but I decided to write it for you to relate. That's why there's no mass there. So this implies that, okay, L, I know is 497. That's the last term. A is for 77. Your D will be your 7. Okay, that is your number that you are using to divide. Okay, or still you can find the difference to be 7. So you substitute, you expand, you simplify, and you get N to be equal to 61. So you get, okay, the number of terms to be equal to what? 61. Is my point well made, my professors? Hello, is my point well made?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now the second one. Okay, the second question. Okay, this is where it will be tricky. Okay, so let's see. The sum of the first 3 terms, also the sum of the 3 consecutive terms, not first 3 terms, of an AP is 180, and their product is 120. Find the terms. So if you like, if you don't know the terms and you go and write, you can use, okay, maybe consecutive terms, A as your first term, A plus D as your next consecutive term, then A plus 2D to be the next one. But if you use this one, okay, the algebra will be involved. Okay, to be tedious. And those of you who use this, I guess you agree with me. The volume of work. So if you don't take it, if your algebra is not strong, along the line, you give up. So usually when you encounter this situation where you are giving consecutive terms, but you don't know the exact consecutive terms of an AP, this is what you do. You take the first term, okay, because first consecutive term as A minus D, and your second one as what? A. Then your next one would be A plus D. So you can see, once I know that that's my first of the consecutive terms, I will be adding these to generate the other terms. Is my point well made? Hello,
Yes,
is my
sir.
okay? So at that point, then it means okay. Yes, please. Yes, please.
So I thought A is always the first term.
Yes, but here we were told that consecutive terms. So we don't know whether the consecutive terms are the first 3 terms, the second term up to the 4th term, the 5th term up to the 8th term. You get it? They are just consecutive terms. I didn't say the sum of the first 3 terms. I said the sum of what? The, what do you call it? 3 consecutive terms. I hope you get my point. So if you take, you can take, like I said, you can take your first term, and in natural, but it's not the first term. Okay, I'm using first term for convenience sake. So let me use the first term of your consecutive terms to be A. Your next one will be A plus D. Okay, your next one will be what? A plus 2D. Okay, before that, I can also generate, remember,
Yes,
I can
please.
also get A minus D. Okay, I can also get A minus 2D. They will all be consecutive terms, is that not it?
Yes, please.
So there will be nothing wrong with that. However, I said, based on experience and for convenience, okay, purpose, you will have to go for these 3 consecutive terms. Your work will be easier. Because you can see that if you do that, when you look at the sum, if you sum straight away, you get your A. However, if you don't do this and you have A plus what? Okay, your next one, A plus D, plus the next one, A plus 2D. What would that give us? It will give us A plus A plus A, which is 3A. Then plus what? D plus 2D, that will give us 3D. And that will give us what? The 18 that you have there. So you can see that you will have 2 variables involved here. I will have only 1 variable and I know the value of the variable. So once I know this, any equation that I form in the second one, which involves A and D, I know D because I can substitute it. It is known. But you would rather solve the other 2, this one and the other one simultaneously because you have 2 unknowns there. You get my point?
Yes, please.
So anytime you encounter such a situation, please now you know your consecutive term that you are going to settle on. Okay, settle on these, okay, 3 consecutive terms. Take note of that. So at that point, this will give me my A. And also I'm told that the product should give me 120. So it means A, okay, natural fact is supposed to be A minus D times A times. But you know multiplication is what? Associative. I decided to write my term with the least, okay, number of terms, okay, as, okay, the first one. Because I've told you, anytime you are multiplying, you multiply the term with the least number of terms. You are multiplying factors. Multiply the factors with the least number of terms. So I rearrange that as A times this, or somebody can write A minus D into A into this. But I wrote it this way. Multiplication is commutative. That's nothing wrong. I believe you get my point. Come and expand. Okay, or someone can even do direct substitution here. But okay, ideally it will be better if you expand, then you come and carry out your substitution. So in this case, I label this as my equation 2. This is equation 1. I come and put, okay, equation 1 into 2 because this equation is in terms of D. Okay, so this is what you are going to get. So at this point, you get D. Okay, root of D squared is equal to plus or minus. And you are looking for D. You are taking the square root. D is not really positive. So you should know that you have to introduce plus or minus. If plus or minus is not here, you are doomed. Okay, so that will give you plus or minus 4. Okay, which is the same as 4 or minus 4. So here, because you have 2, okay, values for the common difference, it should tell you that invariably you have, okay, 2 sequences. Sort of. So you are asked to find, okay, the terms. So we are looking at the 3 terms. Okay, so it means the terms are the 3 consecutive terms. So if the first one, the A is 6, and your common difference is 4, then it means the other 2 terms will be 6 plus 4. So that will be 10, then and what plus 4 again. So it's 14. Okay, however, so I said, oh, if, okay, your sequence, if you want to use N, you can use N in situation as well. Okay, so if your first term of the sequence is 6, because your A is fixed, okay, 6, and your common difference is minus 4, then it will be 6 minus 4, or 6 plus minus 4, which will give us 2. The next one will be 2 minus 4, or 2 plus minus 4, which will give us minus 2. So this then becomes what? The 2 sequences. You didn't get only 1 sequence. So this will also give us a total of what? 21 marks. Point well made. Okay, Prof. Caldedo.
This one. when you multiply them like the terms by each other, you don't get 120. The product is not 120.
If you multiply the terms.
Yeah, you don't get 120. But in the question, they said their product is 120.
Okay, so which term are you talking about?
The end of the question, like yeah, 6,
okay, so,
10, and 14.
So let's see. Please multiply this and let's see, because you should get it.
You'll get 120.
Okay. All right. So he's making a valid statement, and it's indeed a valid statement. Okay. So I guess your statement is about this.
The first one, is it 6, 10, and 14?
Yes, it's 10, 14.
14 times 10 is
14 times 10 will give you 140.
Times 6 is not
So it
120.
means the sequence is not making sense.
Yeah, but I had the sequence to be 10, 6, and 2.
10, 6, and 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go back and see. Okay, so let's see our A. The A was 6, right?
Yeah, I had my A to be A plus D is equal to 6.
A plus D is equal to 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what he's saying is valid. Okay, it's very, very valid. It's a good analysis that he made. So let me see. So I have to check. Because if the A is 6, then that is what it should be. Okay, so let me see. This will give us D. Ooh, let me see. Okay, so you are going to get how many? 3A is equal to 18. So A will be equal to 6. So we are right here. Is that not it?
My sequence is not A minus D and A.
Okay, so you
used
a different sequence. Is that not it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. But anyway, don't worry. What I will do is I will go through and see. But the sequence that we have here, okay, is not satisfying the condition that we have there. Per what we did, there is nothing wrong, but it should satisfy. Okay, so it means there is something wrong either with the question or with our procedure that we have here. But it's likely maybe it will come from the procedure. Okay, but the main purpose of this question is to let you know that anytime you have consecutive terms and you want to make replacement or substitution for that, or let's say representation, let me put it that way, for the terms, it is better you use this. Okay, so I will go through and see. I will check and see. Okay, so where the problem is. Okay, I'll check and see, because this will give you 60. Okay, then obviously it will be more than that, more than 120. The product will be more than 120. Okay, Prof. Lynette.
If you said the first term would be A minus D, shouldn't...
Yeah. Okay, so it means that's where the problem is coming from. Very good. Okay, very good. So that's it. I should have used this. Instead, I use what, okay, you normally use. You get the point. Okay, so the answers, I'm going to clear that and do the needful. So quickly, let me do that. So that's it. That was the problem. Okay, so I use A, okay, A plus D, then A plus 2D rather. Okay, but in actual fact, it's rather A minus D. I should have used this. I don't know what happened. Okay, so let's go. Okay, and do the needful. So let me pause and do the needful. Then after that, we go. So we are going to get that. Okay, I think I can even choose not to pause. So let's do that together so that it will be in the video. Okay, so Prof. Kadodu, the issue is going to be resolved. There's nothing wrong with what we have done here. As for that one, I know there is nothing wrong here. It's our conclusion that's the problem came. So it's from here. This is where the problem was. How we generated our sequence. So we generated a sequence with A plus D, then A plus 2D, which shouldn't be. So let's go and clear this. So let me quickly clear that and do the needful right away. So I'm going to clear this. This will not be my A. This will not be my second consecutive term, my third. So it's the same thing that will be here. So I did the wrong thing. Okay. So let me fill in the values right away. Okay, oops. Okay, so now I think I can go to them, fill the value. Okay, so quickly, so we know the first term we said is A minus D. Is that not it? So if your A is 6 and your D is 4, then we are going to get what? 6 minus what? Minus 4, which will give us 2 as our first term. Is that clear?
Yes,
Okay. And the second, so once I know this, I will be adding. So once you know your first term, then it becomes just as I did for the other one, though I started with the wrong first term. So this 1 plus 4, that I'm taking my D to be 4. So that will give you 6. Okay, then the other one, 2 plus 4, that will give us 10. So case settled, is that not it? For the first case sequence. The second one, if your A is what? 6 and your D is what? Minus 4, then you are going to get what? A minus D, so it will be 6 minus 4, so that will give us 10. All correct. Then you keep on adding minus 4. So 10 minus, okay, plus minus 4 will give us minus 6. Okay, then the last one will give you minus 6, okay, plus minus 4, and that will give us minus, okay.
What's that one?
No, it will be minus, is that not it?
I thought you said 10 minus 4.
So it's supposed to be 10 minus 4. Or no, it should not be 10 minus. So let's see the A. The A was what? It is 6. Let's do it. It is 6 minus 4. Am I right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so which will give us what? 10. So that is correct. Is that not it? Then the second one will give us what? We said it will give us the A. And A is what? Is 6. Am I right? Because remember, it's A minus, don't be confused. A minus D, A, okay, then what? A plus D. Am I right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so your A minus D will be, A we said is what? Is 6. Now we are taking our D to be minus 4. So it will be minus, okay, minus 4, which will give us this to be equal to what? 10. Is that clear? But the A we know is 6. All correct.
Yes, please.
Okay, then A plus D will give us what? It will be your A, which is 6 plus what? Your D. Your D is minus 4. So that will give us 6 minus 4. That is 2. Safa?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we are going to get, so let's go and look at what. So I'm going to clear that. Okay, so it is not negative 6, but positive 6, then 2, and positive 2. Okay, so we've effected the change. So that would be it. So one of the, terms would be, so the consecutive term that will satisfy the condition would be 2, 6, 10. And the other one will be 10, 6, 2. All of them, if you add, let's see, when we add, what do we get? 18, is that not it? When we add all of them, we get 18. When you multiply, this will give us 12 times 10, 120. 12 times 10, 120. So now, case settled, is that not it? Okay, well done for, okay, noticing that. Okay, but here my main point, like I said from the beginning, okay, is that anytime you have this question, don't use the A plus D. You can use it, but it will be a little involving. Okay, a little more involving. Okay, Prof. Cardodo.
Bishop, can you go back to the other slide? I want to take a screenshot.
No problem. Okay, all right. So I guess, okay, that will be it. Any questions? Okay, so you are all fine. Okay, we thank God. So on that note, please, you know what you are supposed to do. Okay, this one, the A, I think the A was the total mass for A. A is what, 7 and B is 14. So in all, we have 21 marks. Okay, for this. But your grand total will be 100, so 100%. Take note. And you know, you will capture, as you have done the marking, make sure you don't keep what you have marked. Send it to me as well before we go through. All right, so please, Adoma, I won't mind you. Okay, so this is what we have. Make sure your total marks, you indicate that on top of your first page. Okay, and I said, if you had 80, don't just write 80. Okay, write either 80% or 80 over 100 over the total. Let us know the total. Okay, and you capture everything and you send it to me as well. Okay, so on that note, thank you very much, okay, for making the lesson a success. God bless us all.